This is the Padua Podcast Network.
Even though B&B stands for bed and breakfast, I think most of these places there's no breakfast. I mean, there's some pancake mix in the freezer. That's about as close as it got.
Running a Fever episode 246, Walk in Winslow.
Well, I'm walking in a place that we've got, it's on private property. It's near Devil's Den, where I have recorded podcasts in the past. And I really hope I can find the trail. There are two trails, supposedly, on the property. They're named for, I think there's white flag and yellow flag trails, and they both kind of start in the same spot. So I'm looking to go on the yellow, and I assume that means they're marked with either yellow or white flag. It's a new adventure. Now, that's a white flag. Not expecting to meet a single soul on this trail because it's sort of a compound. This is my first AirBNB experience, so maybe it's a good topic to discuss here. Hopefully I don't get lost. But it's only 62 acres, so how bad could it be, right? There are 3 cabins on the property. I'm taking vacation, but there's logging going on, I think. I'm not sure why else you'd have a bulldozer amongst the trees, but as I speak, I see tracks here. There's a little creek, and this is kind of muddy. There's so many markings you can have before a trail becomes more than a trail. There's a rocky thing. They mentioned a rocky outcropping of some kind and kind of overlook. Got some nice moss-covered rocks here. It's rocky, all right. Good hiking is what was promised. There's like a creek bed or something there. That's what I did last year. My vacation, I was hiking. I just took the camera along and brought you along with me. No camera this time. But generally, when you're hiking, especially in terrain like I'm going over right now, sometimes there are individual obstacles, or invisible obstacles like that spider web that I just went through. There's a pond that this kind of goes around. But it looks like the supposedly good hiking that was promised looks kind of like a logging trail. I don't know, I guess you could go through the forest there, but there's a property fence, a fence that looks like a property fence of some kind, and I don't want to go on someone else's property. So vacation, should be a time of working on my psychological health, getting away from the day-to-day, and so I've tried to do that. I kept my phone off most of the time. Check just to make sure there's not emergency messages, but otherwise just kind of keep it off. I haven't been on the internet, responded to any text messages. Been doing some reading. Some of it is, I guess all of my readings kind of wind up being research. one of my literary, I really don't want to say idol, but guy I really appreciate is William Faulkner, and his advice to writers was read everything. So reading is kind of like research no matter what it is. But anyway, I've been kind of reading some stuff that's related to one of my novels that's coming up. I said coming up, I'm just kind of outlining it, and I've got a really steep hill here. So that's been kind of the difference. I've just been kind of unplugged, and finally got prompted to go out and do some exercise. Looks like the hill's gonna level off here. Oh boy, it just keeps on going. Wow. This is a 62-acre property, and there are actually 3 cabins on it. I booked one of them, and I was told that the other 2 would not be occupied this week. The word she used was blocked out. Overall, it's been a fairly good experience. I've been here almost a day, I guess. Checked in yesterday afternoon. I could also go to Devil's Den State Park, which is not far from here, and all the trails that are there. I haven't, even though it's only a few minutes drive away, I'm actually the road, the main road, before you turn off the dirt. It's called Devil's Den Road. So I may do that tomorrow. I think vacations for me are generally more for psychological than physical health. I don't know, 100 years ago, people thought that being out in the sun a lot was healthy. Not so much anymore, at least not unprotected. Although being outside in nature, I think, is good for me. And it's hard to separate the psychology from the physiology, because I mean that's a big influence on, for example, how long we live, is how much stress we have. So if I'm able to alleviate some stress, reduction of stress is a good thing. And it's not like you have to go, at least I didn't have to go that far. This is probably an hour's drive at most from where I live. I did go to the grocery store before I came here. It's the, even though B&B stands for bed and breakfast, I think most of these places there's no breakfast. I mean, there's some pancake mix in the freezer. That's about as close as it got. So you kind of bring your own groceries. All right, this looks like a trail. Glad to be here on a trail, and I'm going up again. So, getting some exercise today, that's for sure. Another thing is that we're still in 2020. It is September 2020, which means back in the real world, rowboat, no life jackets. They said it's at your own risk. It actually looks like a paddle boat. There's an oar up on the front porch. There are tiki torches out here. Interesting property. As I was saying, back in the real world, everybody's wearing a mask all over the place. And out here, I can walk all over this place, not encounter any other people. I might get some kind of disease from being snake bit or bug bit or spider bit. But I don't think I'm gonna get COVID out here. This just drops right off into a gully or ravine. And there's supposed to be a stunning view here somewhere. I mean, you can see the hills in the distance, but I do have my hiking boots on though. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna turn on my phone momentarily just so I can get a picture of this gully because it's the most interesting thing I've seen. I guess I could take a picture of the pond while I'm at it, since I'm right next to it. I mean, it's nice to be out here. Sun's getting kind of oppressive right this spot because I'm out, not in the shade anymore. So, I mean, and I think I've heard about other people kind of doing this. There's one place I heard about that was kind of like a religious retreat, but they're renting it out for couples who want to kind of get away from everything that's going on right now. And so that's part of what I'm doing. I didn't do it specifically for that reason. And the phone is immediately back off. I don't know, I'm going to go up here just a little bit. Going up. You're supposed to go right by the lake, so this may be the way officially. There's a big old rock. It's just pretty sure I can get by here. I did see a swing up here. Kind of nice. Gonna do the best I can, and sometimes it's more interesting to go into a place like this. I mean, some people might say, where's the fun? The trail's already beaten for you. Something to be said for that. I try to take care of my mental health, and this is helping me do it. This is actual gravel. Not that gravel doesn't exist in nature. Well, it looks like I can probably head in that direction with relative safety, so I'm going to do that. At least there are no bulldozers, just sticker bushes. Ow, ow, ow. Yeah, they just reach out and bite you. All right, I see the house. I'm getting closer. Vicious trees and bushes here. So be very careful. Yeah, I mean, there's kind of a trail. I can see the swing now, overlooking the pond. Well, I said this ore was on the porch. It's right by the swing here. All right, meanwhile, back at the ranch. It's been fun. I'll talk to you next time. Got the fever, keep it, and all that. You don't have it, catch it, starting now. Download every episode. RunningAFever.com.